It is everyone's favorite time of week, and because we are streaming, that could be any time, or for our sake, it's whenever you see the NFC West Huddle. I'm Aaron Levine in Seattle, joined by the experts around the division. Gerard Moncure is in Los Angeles, Keyshawn Ward is in the Bay Area, and Robbie Baker has not been mathematically eliminated from our show. He is hanging out in Arizona today. Guys, 5 weeks left in the regular season, so the first question today is this. Make your case for who wins this division and why. Gerard, you have the head-to-head tiebreaker with the Seahawks right now atop the division, so we will start with you.
Well, Aaron, I love the fact that, despite what happened in Carolina last week, the Rams still have their destiny in their own hands in front of them. And that, of course, means win the game in Arizona this week, beat the Lions at home, a little bit of a beat-up Lions team, and then handle business in a short week in Seattle, a place where historically under Sean McVay they have played very well. I think that if you get this far into the season and your destiny is in your own control, that's all that any team can ask. I think that's what Sean McVay has been stressing to the Rams this week after they had that clunker in Carolina, which I was surprised they lost the game. I wasn't surprised it was a close game, though, because, boy, after they beat the Buccaneers on Sunday night, everything was about the Rams are the greatest, the greatest thing since the early 90s Cowboys. That's really what you saw across the country, and that's always dangerous, especially this early in the year with so much football left. But good learning lesson for them. And like I said, the fact that they still have their destiny in their own hands, which means maybe win out, but you got to win that game in Seattle. I think they would take that, and I like that. As long as they don't suffer any major injuries, I like where they are still. I do.
Yeah, we will keep that in mind. Also, a very big flex of yours down in Southern California in the month of December to be showing off that beautiful weather. Keyshawn, you are next. The Niners at 9-4, but that cupcake schedule we talked about at the start of this season isn't so easy anymore, thanks to the Colts and the Bears' resurgence this season. Who do you think wins this division?
Yeah, Aaron, I don't think the faithful are going to be too happy with my answer, but I'm going to stick with my preseason pick, the Los Angeles Rams. I'm not going to let it slip up on the East Coast at a 10 a.m. start really define my decision. Just because the Rams lost to the Panthers, that doesn't really tell the whole story. I mean, yeah, Matthew Stafford's playing at MVP level, but he had 3 turnovers. It's really hard for teams to overcome those kind of situations. And plus, it's just hard for West Coast teams coming off a big win against the Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football to follow up with that with another big win on the road. It's just, I think that the Rams, they've been the best team all season. I can't scoff at what they've been doing. I mean, Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua have been probably the top 2 duo in this NFL season so far. And just, they're the only true contender in the NFC West, in my opinion. Yes, the Niners have been doing great despite all the injuries, but I don't really look at the Seahawks and the Niners as true contenders. I have more faith in the Rams, so I'm going to stick with them to win the NFC West this year.
Yeah, Keyshawn, just among the many doubters of the Seahawks here in the Pacific Northwest. I'm a Seahawks fan, if I'm a Seahawks fan, and I guess I am, I'll admit it. I definitely have some concerns, though. I mean, the Rams seem to have Sam Darnold's number the past couple of seasons, including when he was with the Vikings last year. The Niners on the road are not an easy out at all to end the season. But given that I was hammering everyone on taking the Seahawks at 5 and 6-1 to win this division when everyone seems to be sleeping on this team at the beginning of the year, I have to be on the Seahawks here. And I really don't think I'm going to go out on a limb by saying that. The Seahawks offense, they actually put up 414 yards against the Rams, which I think is the most all season. So if they can get those turnovers under wraps, I like their chances in Seattle on Thursday Night Football in a couple weeks from now, which could potentially determine this division. The Hawks also have the best defense we've seen since the Legion of Boom. They don't seem to lay many eggs under Mike Macdonald. I would not be surprised if the Hawks run the table, finish the season 14-3, grab the top seed in the NFC. And you might be thinking I'm crazy right now, but imagine how crazy I would have looked if I had said that they would finish 14-3 in this forum back in April and May. So I really don't think it's a huge stretch to go there right now. Robbie, you're going to be the neutral tiebreaker on this one because the Cardinals were eliminated from the playoffs last week. Who do you think wins the division and why?
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, Aaron, if you said the Seahawks were going to be 14-3, that may have sounded crazy. And if I said the Cardinals were going to be 3-14, that may have sounded crazy too. And yet here we are with both those scenarios still at play right now. I think it's going to be the Rams. I'll be the tiebreaker here. And the reason I'm going with the Rams is more just kind of the body of work this year, the offense, defense, special teams. You look at all three phases. They've been solid all throughout the season. Kind of like Keyshawn said, the early body clock game in Carolina, to me, is more of a blip on the radar. It's not indicative of anything bigger. And you said the Seahawks have a chance to run the table, but you also got to look at who the Rams have left. 2 games against the Cardinals. That's pretty much probably 2 guaranteed wins. And the Falcons. You look at 3 wins right there. So it's really, it could come down to that Thursday night head-to-head to decide this thing. And I would lean towards the Rams right now, and it comes down to it.
Yeah, I would say the odds are definitely in the Rams' favor, and calling it a tiebreaker was my fault. A bit of a misnomer since it is sort of 3 against 1 at this point. You would have helped me tie the whole score, but unfortunately, I am on the wrong side of that one. Next question. We'll see how it all plays out, though. I'm looking forward to it. Next question. This division has 3 9-win teams. It's arguably the strongest in all of football. This offseason, there was a proposal to reseed the playoffs based solely on regular season record. That was withdrawn. Given what we have seen this year in this division, would you favor just a reseeding altogether without the division winners getting a guaranteed home game in the playoffs and a higher seed, or do you keep it the way it currently is? Keyshawn, you're first. Do you like divisional winners getting a higher seed in the home playoff game?
Well, Aaron, see, this is probably the toughest question you guys asked me all season, because I'm just looking at it from the standpoint, if we have no divisions, then what's the purpose of having them anymore? I mean, if you want to do like the NBA and college football, I'm all for it. But if we're still going to remain in the NFC West, we got to have division winners. It has to have some type of relevance. I mean, look at what happened back in 2009 when Marshawn Lynch had that Beastquake run. I mean, that never happens if the Saints are probably at home that game and the Seahawks are not in the playoffs because they're 7-9. So it does serve some type of relevance to winning division. So, yeah, I'll probably keep it as it is.
Okay, Robbie, you're next. What do you think?
I think Keyshawn read my pre-show notes because I literally have written down division winner Beastquake was my 2 notes that I had written down for this question that you were going to ask. But I think it is kind of the summation of what this is. This question is, to win the division has to mean something. And sometimes it turns out that a team that's under 500 wins the division, as you guys know up in Seattle. It happens. But then it gave us one of the greatest moments in NFL playoff history. And there's got to be some meaning to put on, the hat and the T-shirt and win a division. It can't just be ceremonial. I like the way it is where you get to host a playoff game. Regardless of record, if you win your division, you go through whatever gauntlet it is of the teams you have to play year in and year out. If you come out on top of that mountain, you should be able to host a first-round playoff game.
Gerard, there's a chance the winner of the NFC South has a 9-8 record, but they're hosting a playoff game against a 12 or a 13-win team from the NFC West. I mean, would you support that?
Aaron, I got to tell you, I'm with the fellas on this. There has to be, a prize for winning the division. Look at where the Seahawks are right now. They're in the 5th spot, I believe, if the playoffs started today. I understand that the Rams and the Seahawks, you could make a case, could be the 2 best teams in the NFC. But if you don't give the division winner a prize, then the winning the division just simply doesn't mean anything. And winning the division for the Rams or the Seahawks could mean saving yourself a snowy trip at some point to Green Bay or a snowy trip at some point to Philadelphia. There just has to be incentive for winning the division. It has to mean a lot. And I like the way it is right now. I just think if you reseed, you kill the incentive on winning the division. It's just pretty simple to me.
This is a really notable moment because this, I believe, is the earliest in any season where there have been 3 9-win teams in the NFC West, and yet it's going to be a clean sweep of what we believe here in that we should keep the divisions and that a potential 12 or 13-win team is going to have to go on the road as a wild card team. Interestingly enough, I believe it was the Detroit Lions last year that came up with this proposal to just reseed everything and not have divisional winners, and I think they were on the bad side, the downside of not winning their division last year. Correct me if I'm wrong there. I'd have to go and look back. I'm going to have to go back to what I said in April, though, and talking about this clean sweep. I think as long as there are divisions, divisional winner should earn a home playoff game. I mean, even if there are better teams in other divisions, you get rid of the divisions, as everybody has said here. like they do in Major League Soccer or basketball, then it would make sense to seed teams based on record alone. But right now, you play teams in your division 2 times a year. There are natural rivalries with those teams because of the familiarity and because of the annual home-and-home series with those teams. So when it all comes down to it, you're playing for more than just bragging rights. You're playing for an NFC West title and the spoils that come with that, which includes a home playoff game. If you change the system, then we talk about getting rid of the poster child for this system. The moments like Marshawn Lynch and Beastquake in Seattle, that 7-9 Seahawks team somehow winning the NFC West that year and then beating an 11-5 Saints team in Seattle as a double-digit underdog. Again, there are divisions for a reason. If you want those to go away, then reseed it by record. But if not, keep the playoff seeding the way it is. We're going to take a quick break, and up next, we're going to take a look at this week's games from the perspective of everybody within the division, including the guy who doesn't have a game this week, to talk about the look ahead to next week, and hopefully, or maybe not hopefully, their team can get a little bit healthier as they go into the stretch run down in the Bay Area. We'll be back after this. Back here on the NFC West Huddle. Up next, we're looking ahead to this week's games. We'll start with Robbie in Arizona because you guys host the Rams, the first of 2 games against Los Angeles down the stretch. How much might this Cardinals team be motivated, if at all, to play spoilers against the Rams? And how do you see this one playing out this weekend?
Yeah, I know we got time to fill here, but I don't think there's much that I can say about this matchup other than it's probably not going to go well for the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, look at the body of work of the season. Okay, great. Win one for the Gipper here. Let's rally the boys. It's not going to happen, okay? Jacoby Brissett has looked fine under center. The offense has moved the ball. But you look at the injury report again. Marvin Harrison Jr. is dealing with the heel injury. It sounds like Josh Sweat was not seen during the open portion of practice today. We'll wait to see when the injury report comes out if he's on there. It's just, this team has been decimated by injuries. You got Calais Campbell and the guys in the locker room yesterday, understandably at this point, talking about, we're playing for pride. You're playing on your brother on either side of you because they're already eliminated from the playoffs. The only thing these guys have left to play for at this point is their livelihoods, honestly. I mean, you're putting stuff on tape that you want to stay in the NFL. You want to continue your career. Maybe it's with the Cardinals, maybe it's with somebody else. But, I mean, this team, they're still together. There's not a fracture in the locker room. I'm not saying anything like that. But there's just not much juice left in this. I'll honestly be very interested to see what the crowd is like, even at State Farm Stadium, because Rams fans seem to kind of take over State Farm Stadium every time this, this game rolls around on the calendar each year. And even going back a few weeks, Cardinals fans have kind of been few and far between. If you want to go to an NFL game this Sunday, the cheapest way to do it may be to fly to Arizona and buy a ticket to the Cardinals game on the secondary market to State Farm Stadium. You can maybe get in for like $15.
Yeah, you probably imagine a bunch of Rams fans doing that this week in that case. And also, there are business decisions also. There's not only the motivation of putting things on tape to look good, but then there are also the business decisions, as certain players don't necessarily want to take that big hit as they look toward their future and not get injured. Gerard, you're next. A wake-up call last week in Carolina, an unexpected loss to the Panthers. So how do you expect the Rams to come back from that one in Arizona this week?
I expect a typical Sean McVay performance from the Rams, which is, you know what? We ate some humble pie, but we're going to regroup, we're going to stick together, and we're going to move forward, and we're going to fix the mistakes. They know, Matthew Stafford knows he can't turn the ball over 3 times. You can't turn the ball over in the red zone. They know, at the very least, that game should have been tied. They should have been able to kick a field goal. Just too many mistakes. And also, I think, the defense, from all the chatter across the league, across the country about this young defense, they were going into that game, the points leader in terms of points allowed. And obviously, Carolina put up on them what they did, and they were able to run the ball smash mouth against this Rams defense. So I think maybe their feelings got a little hurt after this game, which was needed probably. When you start reading your press clippings, and it's just a natural thing to do in this day and age of social media, there's no way around it, especially with a young team. They started feeling themselves, and they just were not as sharp as they had been. So I am expecting a complete bounce back in every area of the game. And these guys to know that, hey, We have a lot of football left. It's all out there in front of us. We cannot start slipping. That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting a very focused team on Sunday in Glendale.
Okay, well, I'll go next. I think some might think this is a trap game for Seattle in Atlanta, given that they have a big home game, actually two of them, coming up against the Colts and then the Rams in a 5-day stretch beginning the following week. I just don't see anything to make me think the Falcons have a chance in this one. The Seahawks are 14-2 in their last 16 road games, 22-5 in their last 27 games that have kicked off at 10 a.m. Pacific time on the East Coast. The only road loss this season was at the Rams. Even that one was pretty close at the end. Until last week, one concern for me was their inability to force turnovers, but then they forced 5 of them. And against the Vikings, and they tend to come in bunches when you talk about turnovers. So I wouldn't be surprised if they continued that trend this week. The Falcons' biggest offensive threat is Bijan Robinson, and the Seahawks not only have the second best rush defense in the league, they've also gone 21 consecutive games without allowing a 100-yard rusher, which is the longest current streak in the NFL. The Seahawks currently touchdown favorites on the road. I think that's just about right, but only through a backdoor cover. I think Seattle has control for most of this game, wins this one fairly easily. Meanwhile, the 49ers are off, Keyshawn, so give me the current state of the team with the injuries right now and who might be expected back next week against Tennessee and potentially an early preview of that game.
Well, Aaron, you know, the league, this was probably a slap in the face by the league going into the season because it's such a late bye week. It's the latest bye week of the Kyle Shanahan era, but it's now looking like a blessing in disguise because we might be able to get Eddie Pinheiro, our starting kicker, back. Kyle Juszczyk, who has a rib fracture, will be reevaluated this week, possibly be back for that Titans game. And Fred Warner's back, Tatum Bethune, who's playing pretty well when Fred Warner went down. But, yeah, this late bye week is pretty good for the Niners right now because they're getting re-energized at the right time. Because after this Titans game, which might be a track game, they're going to have the Colts, the Bears, and Seattle. So they're going to be rolling into some tough games to try to get to the playoffs. I think the Niners will be do pretty well against the Titans. I mean, they're a one-win team right now. They're not having much going for them with Cam Ward and his young rookie season. But the Niners getting healthy at the right time on this to try to make this playoff push. So, yeah, this late bye week was bad in the beginning, but now it's looking like a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, certainly, and we're going to have much more on that Niners-Tennessee game coming up next week. Before we complete the show, we're going to take a quick break here, and after the break, I know it's not the end of the regular season, but it is toward the end of the first semester for many colleges out there. It is report card time, at least in terms of grading our head coaches. We will do that after the break here on NFC West Huddle. Back here on the NFC West Huddle, our final topic of the day. I'm going to ask everybody around the division to give your head coach a grade to this point of the season and give me a prediction for how many years you think your head coach will be in that position going forward. Gerard, you go first this time. What are you giving Sean McVay, and how much longer do we have to deal with facing him up here in Seattle?
Well, I'm going to give him an A so far, Aaron. You know, how can you not when they're the division leader right now? They've only lost 3 games. You can make an argument. The 3 games they lost, they beat themselves in each of those games. For the most part, this team is always prepared. They're humble. They see what's in front of them, and they're hungry. I think if Sean McVay were sitting here with me right now, he would tell you, though, that his grades are week to week, just like the way he feels about his team. It's always week to week. He would give himself probably a D for what happened in Carolina because they didn't win the game. But I think overall you got to give him an A right now. And I sat down with Sean McVay at the beginning of the year, and we had a nice 15-minute sit down. And he told me that he is in a headspace right now with he and his wife building their family here in L.A. He realizes how to work his time now, and he said he could see himself coaching the Rams for another 10 years. So, Aaron, you're going to have to deal with this for a little while, I think.
Yeah, I am very, very sorry to hear that. Robbie, Jonathan Gannon struggling in his 3rd season with the team in Arizona. What grade do you give him, and does he survive the end of this year?
Yeah, I think, to be fair, probably the grade would be kind of incomplete right now, just because all of the injuries this team has suffered this year. We've never really seen this team at 100% since like week 2 or 3 of the season. But when you look at year 3 of the Jonathan Gannon era, the previous head coaches, Ken Wisenhunt, Bruce Arians, even Cliff Kingsbury, all at least made the playoffs or made the NFC Championship game or won the NFC West by year 3. The Cardinals are backsliding still under Jonathan Gannon. Even with the injuries, there is a chance this Cardinals team, maybe the Falcons is the only win left this season. Maybe they don't win another game. If that is the case, I just don't know how you sell the fan base that 3 years into this Jonathan Gannon experience, the team is still only going to win 3 or 4 games, and you're still going to have the offseason questions about Kyler Murray and rebuilding different spots on this team. If they only win 1 game max left this season, I just don't know how you bring Gannon back and sell that to the fans.
Yeah, a very fair point there. And Keyshawn, Kyle Shanahan and the Niners have rebounded very well from a disappointing season last year. So what do you give him grade-wise, and how long do you think he'll be with the team in the Bay Area?
Well, Aaron, it's funny. Robbie mentioned injuries. That's what the Niners been doing all season. We've been playing with a mass unit. We're sitting at 9-4, so that's not excuses to us. But man, I got to give Kyle Shanahan an A+, y'all. I mean, man, this unit they've been playing with, they've lost their quarterback early in the year. They lost their leaders like Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, even their first-round pick, Michael Williams. It didn't matter for Kyle Shanahan. They still produced 9 wins with backups all season. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Shanahan he's been able to get to 3 Super Bowls. This is easily his best coaching job he's ever done in his young career so far. I think he'll be here for at least 2 or 3 years. It's really going to depend on if they can win a Super Bowl. Like I mentioned, he made it 3 Super Bowls, but he has not been able to get the job done. I think this year will be kind of look like, okay, if you don't win, it's okay. We have a lot of injuries this year. Not using excuses, but the expectation is not really to win a Super Bowl this year. It's tough as it is. They've been doing well all year. You got to be realistic, Niner fans. You can't expect them to be true contenders with all they've been dealing with. But getting to the playoffs is very impressive. So, yeah, I think this is an A+ job by Kyle Shanahan.
Wow. A couple A's going around there from L.A. to San Francisco. I'll repeat that grade and give Mike McDonald an A in Seattle. I've said it from the beginning. He's a home run hire here because he's accomplishing the things they needed the most. That was a competent defense. The Seahawks were the 3rd worst team in the league against the run in 2022, 2nd worst in the league against the run in 2023. In less than 2 years' time, they have the 2nd best rushing defense in the league, and that is one of many, many reasons. But we're out of time here on the NFC West Huddle, so we'll have much more time to talk about it next week. Thank you to our crew, and we will see you next week.